We are here enjoying tea, and we're here to make a film. And there's this group that's going to the desert together.
Even if we didn't have a documentary film crew, even if nobody came to film it, this trip would still take place.
You have seen pictures, and I have seen pictures where you are shocked to your core and where your life is changed.
The thing I'm looking forward to the most, honestly, is rolling into Tripoli and sitting in a tent with Gaddafi, sipping tea with him, and watching his face as he looks around at all these different people in our group and trying to really read him and see if he's really accepting these people in his heart as brothers, as sisters, as humans, or if it's just a big PR stunt. Because if I can read in his soul that he is really accepting us as fellow human beings, then at that point I will know that we've accomplished our mission.
pictures, or both ways of doing pictures, end up at the same problem. I think with documentaries and with written script, you have a concept. Then whether you have a treatment in the beginning or a basic concept or a script, and then you actually start the shooting process, and then you have an editing process. And at the end of the day, you have 3 different projects that are somewhat related, but at the end of the day, they're completely different.
And this is in life too. This is exactly what we're doing in this project with all these different cultures that we're dealing with. You know, everybody has their own attitudes, everyone has their own personalities, everyone has their own thoughts about how things should be done. But if we are constantly coming up with negative things to push against, you know, if we're constantly saying my way is the right way or no way at all, my way or the highway is what we say in the United States, then it doesn't accomplish anything. It just creates a defensive posture on the other side, and that's what we see in the Middle East right now too, is when you come to someone and you say, this is how it has to be, or it's not going to be at all, then it doesn't foster anything productive. It causes the other side to then take a defensive posture, flare up the hairs on the back of their neck and say, hey, wait a minute, I'm sorry, but I'm right. And then you're at this Stillstand. So social skills are very important, along with creative skills.
I think that is what's happening on both formats. But reality can be created on both ends. I think filming reality does not necessarily show reality. If you know what I mean. It's sometimes truth can be seen in something that is very untrue for some mysterious reason. You can understand something much better by seeing something that looks very arbitrary. I can understand someone's emotion if I sit here right now and you would edit in whatever, a crash of a car.
Were you in there?
Gee, and just when the news happens, the news people are here. It's amazing.
What I'm saying would have a complete different meaning than if you edit in a beautiful scenery somewhere in nature. I still would have said the exact same thing, but by editing it this way, you would create a particular reality, and that reality is somewhat arbitrary, but that could mean potentially more than what I'm saying right now and could underline the meaning of what I'm saying completely differently.
Are we rolling? No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's my responsibility to get the press to pay attention and write about us, because what we do in general are 2 things. First, we create journeys for people to break the ice.
When come to Israel
and overcome their differences, come to an understanding. And the second important thing we do is we tell the world about their stories.
I woke up one day and realized that there was something happening at the executive team that was very different from that. That was like living in razor wire. And I walked out of the meeting and walked out of my job and walked out of a marriage and walked out of my life.
So that we can inspire others to break the ice together and send a message of hope to the world.
I hope to be peace for all the people in the world. This give it to me a lot of meanings to have it and to do for it in the world. I hope the people they understand always each other, but I want the governments everywhere to know that the people want peace, but the government always giving a shock and to make them enemies because their decisions.
أمريكا حددت أنها دفعت ما يزيد عن 400 مليون لتحسين صورتها في العالم الإسلامي فقط.
The United States has paid 400 million US dollars simply to purify its image in the Middle East.
ولكنها دفعت مليارات من أجل الحروب في منطقة الشرق الأوسط.
But the United States has paid billions of dollars in wars all over the world.
And so just filming what happens doesn't show, oh, that's what's really what happened, or that doesn't help the audience to understand what really happened. And that's also the same for scripted scripts.
For thousands of years, since the beginning of humanity, I've represented peace among people. And as I stand here today, after my long journey across the Sahara, in search of a new home to spread my roots, I invite you to join my worthy cause. Standing beside me with my fellow 8 travelers and messengers for peace from various countries and religions, my promise to them is to continue their quest for inner peace and for global peace by giving birth to new seeds of peace for future generations. Their message to the world is a simple one. If not me, then who? Oliver the Olive Tree.
On the Russian it's если не я, то кто? On the English it's if I don't do this job, who can do? I have to do. I don't want to sit in my flat and just watch TV. All my heart, I want to make this world is better. But sometimes you need a teacher. Sometimes you need like a doctor who cut off. You know how it's. This is sick.
When you're dealing with so many different facets of logistics and operations and flights and personalities and people from all over the world. We've got people coming from all over the world who are arriving here tonight. Had a couple people last night. We have 6 more people coming in. You're the first coming in tonight. And today's the big day. Today is when everything happens. I'm sure the participants are sitting in the airplanes right now as we speak, flying from Europe, flying from the United States, flying from all over the place. They're nervous, they're scared, they don't know what to expect. Most of them have never been to the Middle East before.
Never been to the Middle East before.
First time.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Two great people so far. Checking out the Jordanian fire department, which I'm very impressed here.
Slowly, disconnection makes its way between us. Our affection drifts away to clean us. Restitution falls away slowly.
No, you have to leave your suitcase.
Okay.
I pack light.
Okay.
You told me to pack light, right? I pack very light. Very light. Very good.
And one of my main concerns is making sure when they arrive, number one, they get here okay.
Извините, пожалуйста, мой русский язык очень плохо.
I'm ready, you know. I'm an old army guy, you know, and when you get the call, I'm always ready.
Good. You look like you're ready for the desert.
Yeah.
Okay. That's true. You ready for the desert?
Ready to go, yeah.
Ready for another adventure?
Always ready for an adventure. Okay.
No, I didn't fly any of the Russian helicopters because
Something in Russian or...
their controls are different, but they had some UH-1s, which I flew in Vietnam.
How are you? And number two, when they do arrive, that they know that we're here to take care of them.
It's been quite a journey, huh?
Look at that.
What for it?
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Did you have any problems or anything?
Not very big.
No?
Everything all right.
Если б знали вы, как мне дороги подмосковные вечера.
Nothing can be certain. It's impossible to plan everything.
there's no need to have to know what's going to happen. Matter of fact, it's great not knowing what's going to happen. So now we have another opportunity just being here and not knowing what's going to happen.
It's beautiful. Much more than I didn't expect this at all.
This wandering monk comes to a Zen master, and the Zen master saw his potential and said, "Where are you going?" And the monk says, "On a pilgrimage aimlessly." Now, as I told Anton, if he just said on a pilgrimage, he would be very constricted, yeah? Like he would have a goal. He would have a sense of what it means to be successful or to fail. I didn't say this, huh? But this is how it's unfolding now. That was not an interruption. That's just part of the flow.
You know, there are so many issues in putting on a journey like this together that you have to think about.
Do you have any diet Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Please.
חזי, אולי שווה עדיף לפנות לקצב מאשר לאולמרט. גם יש לו יותר זמן.
He doesn't have any political considerations, which may be a plus, but Olmert may have them, and they may also be a plus, depending on what he's doing in his campaign.
Do you know how to approach him?
Katsav?
Yeah.
Just call the spokesman's office at the president's house.
Well, we actually never asked for the Israeli Prime Minister for any endorsement, President for an endorsement. Shukran.
Yeah, we sent a fax to his office just like last
Katsav?
week. To who?
To Israeli President.
Oh, the Israeli president? No, I thought you said Abbas.
No, you should. Something's left out.
He's Iranian. Isn't he?
Are you talking about to Olmert?
Olmert is the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Is he?
And Katsav.
Oh, you said the president.
Okay.
Yeah, we need that.
But he said on a pilgrimage aimlessly, which to me is a beautiful answer because we don't know. I mean, if you're a monk, yeah, you're on a religious search, you don't know what the mystery will be that we enter into.
And so there's a lot of stress around here because of that very fact. You know, you've got diplomatic issues. We can't control what the Egyptian government decides to do. We can't control what Muammar Gaddafi decides to do from one day to the next. We can't control how many people we're actually going to have on the expedition from one day to the next.
Seems like we don't know how this project will unfold. And it's very wonderful that we don't know.
It can easily happen that we prepare everything very well, and because of the political decision, we are blocked and stopped and have to change our plans.
And the master says, "What is the matter of your pilgrimage?"
The idea of the project is to make a symbolic journey of Jews, Christians, and Muslims from different nationalities, different backgrounds, to make a statement.
When you're coming back to the Middle East madness, you always feel like you have to do something.
You know, it's like when one has a goal like that, it's very dangerous.
To make a statement through this symbolic journey from Jerusalem to across the Sahara Desert to Tripoli.
Because you miss what's happening.
What do you feel
if she says, listen, we Israeli have done enough.
Peace.
We gave you Gaza Strip there. Now we rest. Only Palestinians and Americans saw these things.
Now you have to do
They're
some
free.
things. Palestinians and United States. What do you feel about it?
There's a lot of cynicism out there. There really is. The results of this thing are not measurable. It's difficult after this expedition to say, what did we achieve? The fact that all these people are sitting in this room together right now, you know, we have accomplished our mission already.
This is much more than just a symbolism.
I think this is the major subject of this trip, to look for the possibilities that the political problems between some states do not affect our kind of work, means our route we like to go.
And the monk says, I don't know. And the master says, not knowing is the most intimate.
Hey, come on. This is great.
And with that, this wandering monk became enlightened, or awake.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree with what you're saying in that the film crew, they have to be somewhat separated in order to operate as an independent entity, to really get the objective view. We're going to leave at 1 o'clock sharp. More understanding that the documentary film crew is not separate from BTI. They work underneath BTI. It is, I won't say it's I'll say it's a secondary thing. There's a couple issues surrounding the press conference and the format. In Jordan, we had it set up with all 10 participants at the front table. This format may have to be a little bit different. The recommendation from the Center for Peace, the Perez Center for Peace, who's been supporting us, is that we only put 4 people up there, and then Shimon Peres would be up there, and then the CEO or the head of the Perez Center for Peace would also be up there, so there'd be 6. Now, we have left it up to the Perez Center to choose the 4 people. Perez is a very busy guy, and he will only have about 30 minutes. You guys are free to express your opinions any way you want, but there are certain things that you should not say under any circumstances.
I think 2 reasons in this world making the trouble: the politician and the media. This is my message.
Another story that has developed here on this trip, which I think is very moving, is the friendship between Ray Benson and Yevgen.
Eventually, when you finish your military career, you'll be able to transition into something else, because you finish military young. I mean, people retire when they're 42, 43, 44. You're still young.
A young soldier who fought in Iraq, one of the roughest, toughest, most controversial conflicts going on in modern times.
He want to know the story about this group.
What did he ask about me?
He asked, yeah, we are convinced about the war in Iraq or not.
Do you like?
That you get back to Iraq?
Do I like?
Did you like it?
The experience you do it in Iraq.
لا لا عرف. Did you like it?
You, not him.
Did you like to go to the war?
It was my job. It was my job.
Just then you mean you follow the order, no? You just follow the order. The order. You are following the order, just for this.
Say now, Ukraine send you again to the war. You going?
I finished my Ukrainian army, but if my country will permit me.
And a veteran soldier, a colonel in the U.S. Army who did 2 tours in Vietnam as a platoon leader and a helicopter pilot.
Well, I'm really not a professional helicopter pilot anymore. I was a military helicopter pilot during the Vietnam War.
I was struck today, not so long ago, I was a political reporter in Washington for 6 years. And I'm not used to admiring the people I'm interviewing. I'm not used to really building friendships with them. I'm here covering the Breaking the Ice journey from Jerusalem to Tripoli for the Associated Press, where I'm a correspondent based in Jerusalem. It's a really, really unique situation we're in as journalists to live with you guys for 2 weeks. And it makes it much more difficult. I was telling Rafi, it's much easier to do a phone interview, read some background, and write a story about you guys. But knowing you now, I feel a tremendous responsibility to you. Usually I think the subjects owe me something, to give me a story. But I just hope I can do justice to all of the wonderful people here and all the amazing stories and gifts you have.
I hear now they're going to raise the age from, like, I think the age is now 35, they're raising it like to 40. I mean, they want to get people in the army.
And the relationship that's developed there, Yevgen's goal in life is to become an American soldier.
I want to play in the game.
And he said he realized that goal when he saw American soldiers in Iraq. He saw what he perceived as bravery.
I never see such valor before. I never see such professionalism, such brave, you know. These guys is, yeah. I very respect them, very respect.
And remarkable skill in Iraq in the U.S.-led mission there.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think your mannerisms change.
Yeah, I'll help you if I can. Just give you my card, and if I can assist you, just let me know.
And right now he's in the process of trying to get a visa to the U.S. so that he can immediately join the U.S. Army and be one of those American soldiers.
It's decision to, first of all, it's decision to enter in the United States Army. It's I have opportunity now because I won this green card lottery, and it's a good chance for me.
Don't wait for them to call you. I'd check and say, what's the status, try to find out, because sometimes if it's a bureaucratic process, it may take longer than than you need to. But yeah, it'd be great if you can get that and go. I'm sure you can enlist, because they're short people right now. So
Yevgen is such an interesting young guy. He had the experience of serving in the Ukrainian military and going to Iraq. He served alongside the U.S. Army, and his goal in life now is to want to join the U.S. Army. And I can help him do that. If we can get him over to the U.S., I certainly can help him do it. He's really of single-minded purpose in his desire to want to join the U.S. military, and usually people that have a single-minded purpose usually get what they want.
I hope, because I very like army, professional army.
There you go.
I want to be the best too.
I am a soldier. I know you, Georgia. I know. Just 1 second. You fucked up Iraq too. You was in Iraq too.
Yeah,
don't tell me you didn't kill Iraqi people.
Listen, maybe I killed.
Yeah, because you are a bastard. Okay?
No.
Yeah, anyone killed fucking Iraqi people, he's a murderer and he be charged.
I don't need them fucking apologize. I saw him.
This is the hottest spot we've had in the whole trip.
Yevgen, come
to
back.
The end. This is a big moment. This is a hot moment.
This is not big moment. This is
So
begin 1 week.
Yes.
Many times ago.
Yes.
If one person don't respect the team, don't respect the group, don't respect the project,
yes.
Why all people must to kiss him in his ass?
You were showing a military training camp on what happened in the Ukrainian army going to Iraq. You don't think he's going to get upset?
I'm actually a freelancer, but I work almost solely for the Associated Press. I was a staff correspondent for the AP in Washington, where I covered politics for 6 years.
Well, thank you very much. I wish I could have joined you in such a trip.
ونرجو أن تتحقق آمالنا بالسلام لأبنائنا وشعوبنا والعالم بأسره.
We hope that peace will be achieved for us, for our children.
I know that your trip is highly symbolic, but symbols are also important.
I heard several times people saying about something which is symbolic, and I want to tell you something. This is much more than just a symbolism.
It's a highly symbolic trip.
You would come and argue maybe there is a drop in the ocean, but the only difference is that this is our drop.
ندعو إسرائيل وأمريكا للحد من الحروب وويلات الشعوب في العالم بأسره.
He's asking that Israel and the United States should stop whatever they are doing to prevent more suffering.
said he was looking for God in the desert. I said, I think we found him. He's right there. And the shoes he's got, I don't know how he's running in them.
We hope always to be together as a family in this in this world, because the world now is like a home for the family, and the people is one family. I think must be. Thank you for everybody.
I'm upset that he's not here. I never thought I'd say that. Being upset that a sheikh is not with me on a trip.
At least, at least I will be here.
But I'm actually upset that he's not here. He was fun to be around. So, and he's definitely missed. And there's been a lot of times when his name has come up, or maybe looking at a mountain, I've just thought about him. I wonder what he's up to and what he's thinking. Even I had a immediate negative image of him when I first saw him.
The U.S. should lead the world to go to peace instead of wars.
وهناك سيتحقق السلام إن شاء الله. بارك الله فيك.
Then peace will prevail eventually.
شكرا.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need morality back. We need morality back in this world, and morality is at the moment almost non-existent. We need the superpowers of the world to take a lead on this one, and we need the US, you need Russia, the other big countries, Europe, to take a lead on morality, on issues that are important to people, regardless of the interest groups that do not want this to happen.
And then when I got to sit down and talk to him, I realized that he's the real deal. He really stands firmly on what he believes in, his faith, his lifestyle, and what he does. At the same token, he's very open-minded. He's very much peace-oriented. And I said, I wish more people would get a chance to hear his side, because I think if more people heard that this is also what the Sheikh thinks and says and represents, then a lot of people would be pleasantly surprised, like I was.
Is it really deep?
Is it deep?
Is it full of water?
Go down.
I'll get down. I got him.
I got you. No, here. You can go.
Don't go down if you don't want to go.
No, I'm very curious. I want to see it.
So we're talking about Sheikh Taha and the importance of him being with you. I've written a letter to the Grand Mufti Palestine to ask him to allow him to do that, and I will try and stress that again and make sure that he does go with you. I mean, this is of course what you're doing is a pioneering experience and experiment, and we need those. We need pioneering stuff in this area, because all the routine, all the normal ways of dealing with our conflicts have not helped.
We could be really busy moving to different places and not give the space for that interbeing of the group to emerge.
The second thing that was interesting to me yesterday was that it's funny how we have a big group here, but isn't it interesting how little groups can form within the big group? That little groups can get competitive with other groups, other little groups in the big group. So I mean, we're a big group, but we also have, on a particular day, if we're doing an exercise or something, then we form a little group, and now we're our own little cell competing against other little groups in the big group.
Part of the challenge that you have with you is to form a group that includes all the little groups and to respect each little group.
Take care of your shit, American car!
And actually to interbe. And I would really like to see the potential of this interbeing. And in this silent awareness of this breath, this breathing, we sense this interbeing that is already the fact.
What the Middle East needs, what the whole world needs, is a new kind of human interbeing with soul. And you have the opportunity to give birth to yourselves as that. Wouldn't that bring a big smile on our faces? I am present with you in spirit and deeply in the heart. With love and blessings, Alok.
I'm very disappointed to see why we could not move towards peace and happiness instead of that. So many wars and so many troubles happen in Afghanistan.
And
what would be your recommendation then?
Sometimes life happens this way, sometimes life happens that way, and our capacity is to accept and enjoy it. This is the tricky part. When you intend to do something like that, it may not work. When I talk about non-doing and the creativity of non-doing, the way I understand non-doing in Chinese, which I have not read anywhere, but I think it's true, my understanding, derived from the two words wu wei, wu wei. Wu means on the surface, it means no. Wei means intention, or motivation. So no intention or no motivation. Now, my observation of myself and other people is this is not possible. We all have intention and motivations. So what could this possibly mean? Wu wei, no intention, no motivation. So in the Zen tradition, wu, where in Japanese they pronounce it mu, also means nothingness. So if you think of it as the nothingness of intention or the emptiness of motivation, then it makes sense. It's like we have intentions, but we hold it in this vast emptiness. Yeah, here's an intention, and here's this vast emptiness. We're on a pilgrimage aimlessly. So we see, we observe. On the one hand, we have some devotion to this intention. On the other hand, we're just watching, see how things unfold.
And then we're discussing here the route and all the political issues of bringing them into Israel in March, and where do we take off from, and border crossing, etc., and get them out of Tripoli, which are there are many open questions, and we try to evaluate all these possibilities. And
the key to the success of this mission is not where we travel, how we travel, it's who we're traveling with. It's the participants, it's their stories. Our goal is to show that these people with these extreme backgrounds can come together and work together, live together, learn to respect one another, break down their barriers. And for that, it takes very special people with special stories. And this whole process started about 4 months ago in combing the world.
These amazing individuals have come together from around the world, Christians, Muslims, and Jews, to send a message for tolerance and peace. And we welcome you to listen to their stories today.
At the time, you think that you're so powerless because, you don't even know who did it, basically. We've never really seen the face of the enemy.
My co-pilot, my navigator, was killed. I was captured by the Syrians. Was held as a prisoner of war in jail in Damascus. And for me, it took me almost 2 years to land back in my home runway.
He had maybe 5 minutes to prepare himself to look down and see the Syrians amassing on the ground, and he had 5 minutes to prepare for himself for what laid ahead. And in the 5 minutes, he immediately, and after watching his co-pilot die, he went through like a computer, like a soldier who's trained well, all of the identifying characteristics on his uniform, all of the papers that he had on him that could identify him as an Israeli fighter pilot and as someone of a high rank.
In the beginning, there is me and against my interrogators, the people who interrogate me, who torture me. There is a fight, combat of minds. This was one part. But later on, the fight is between you and yourself, or me and myself.
As a reporter, I've come close to death, not my own death, but I've covered disasters and suicide bombings and terror attacks and military maneuvers in the Middle East. And I've seen people die before my eyes. I saw a 13-year-old Palestinian boy shot in the head by a rubber bullet from an Israeli military in Ramallah. Just pronounce it Ramallah.
Yeah, Ramallah.
And he died an hour later. This is a rubber bullet that's used for humanitarian reasons.
We realized that truth was rarely told when somebody was talking, and we just filmed that.
Maybe one day in your life, but this one day, this 1 hour, this one contact between eyes will change your lives forever. For forever.
There was a correlation in the editing then that we got something more out of it. And the scripted thing, sometimes it depended on the actor, it depended on the relationship with the director, it depended on the music later on, it depended on the pace of the editing. So there's so many things that have an influence on what happens and when something happens.
Okay. Okay, excuse me. 1 second. Du sagst mir, wenn du drehst. Okay, now. Yeah? Coffee or chai?
The uncertainty is the number one thing, I think. Every minute things are changing, and that's one of the difficulties about it, is that you have to be so flexible and so adaptive to show that even out of all this anger and violence, there is still a glimmer that stays with us.
And we didn't expect it, did we? It was not under our control or plan.
I think this filmed art is for the public. It's a collaborative effort. It's way too cost intensive to afford to basically do it for yourself. So if there needs to be an audience that can understand or receive what one tries to tell.
I'm trying right now to get someone to come with us for the entire journey for a month.
And travel across the desert with this group. The media coordinator had to pitch the story 100 times, and for every rejection she got from or rather for every person who could cover it, there were 100 rejections. It's really, really rare, as I said, for journalists to be able to take the time to come and do something like this, and that could be really frustrating for people from BTI and other NGOs who would really like to get these kinds of stories out. You know, at a time when news coverage may be getting more shallow and more sensational, stories like this are so important for people to read and hear. And it's so important that journalists are able to come and take 2 weeks out of their schedule during an Israeli election, or whatever, during the crazy time that the Middle East is always in, to come here and profile you guys and tell your stories.
We find that there's a lot of cynicism, especially in the Middle East. And my job is to kill them with optimism, to not let people dampen our enthusiasm.
We need at least 200 years in the future, the problem will be resolved. It will be impossible for the next generations.
What I'm trying to do, and I'm talking just on behalf of myself, I'm not a political person. And I don't want, I'm here because I don't want to sit and do nothing. And I don't want to put the responsibility on someone else. And it doesn't matter who it is. If it's a political party, if it's another nation, if it's another person. I take my responsibility for myself. And I believe that peace comes from people, not from government. And this is the small step I'm trying to do.
It's the Middle East and it's the West. That's where the conflict is. Whether it's the government or the people, that's what the conflict is.
There's so much news going on right now in the world, specifically with regard to the conflict between Islam and the West, which is our focus of this journey.
What happened, this mission, they bring any scumbags from the road and make a mission with them. Where is the cheap people? Where is what a stone all is a politic, what they say is not politic, okay? Everything is politic, everything is religion. It's two countries involved in this fucking mission, Israel and America, that's it.
I don't see there being a separation, really. I see the documentary department as being part of BTI. I think there's been too much separation of the two. We've got the operations department, we've got the fundraising department, we've got we've got your department, the documentary department, and then we've got the media department, I'm sorry. And it seems like all the other three, except for the documentary department, have really been working together quite a bit. Everyone's doing everything. But up to this point, the documentary department have sort of set everybody else apart from us. We haven't felt like you're a part of the team because you haven't made yourself part of the team. We've felt like this is my team, and I put that in my email to you in these quotes, that the documentary team is separate, and it can't be. It has to be an integral part of what we're doing because it's such an important thing that we're using as a tool to tell the story. But the way it's been positioned is that the documentary seems, to you at least, to be the absolute most important thing out of this whole trip. But everybody else on the other side is saying, hey, what's most important is that these 10 people actually make it through the desert alive.
I think we're going into a serious situation here.
Also Latif hat Dan angegriffen. Ja, physikalisch. Und also das geht nicht. Wirklich nicht. And we would still get the message out. Maybe not as effectively in the future because we wouldn't have this documentary film, but it would still happen.
I think nothing changed at the end of the day.
Being a journalist is a way to come close to these things, the extremes of humanity, death, life, trekking across the Sahara, without having to experience them yourselves. You experience everything secondhand. Witness it and document it, but not have to be involved in it personally.
It's the same way with today's television. The outlets changed, but the fact that there's easy entertainment and always has been easy entertainment, this is just the way it is.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door.
Stand up, hook up, shuffle to the door. But I think the bulk of entertainment is what I just call pornographic. It just goes for the punchline. There is no introduction and then there is no prelude. It's just basically just like pants down, there it is.
It's not a traumatic thing to kill an enemy soldier that's trying to kill you. At least it wasn't for me.
Headline, and that's most of the media is driven like that. There is no explanation, there is no depth, there is no complexity.
I was begging them to send me back to Iraq to be killed by Saddam Hussein, and I'm not staying in Austria.
It's just punchline.
My name is Galit, and my mother was killed.
Well, it's, we're a non-political organization.
You were asking why, particularly from Jerusalem to Tripoli. If you are aware of the situation, especially in the Middle East, is Israel and Libya are two countries with no diplomatic relationships. And until today, there was no Israeli, at least not an official, who were allowed to enter Libya. So there are two elements here. First of all, there is an element of setting off from Jerusalem.
We're not going to create peace in Israel. That's one step. And we're not willing to do. Up to this point, Muammar Gaddafi has never officially invited an Israeli into Libya.
We had a bet. Most of us voted that we are entering Libya. Probably tomorrow between noon and Thursday at night. And we'll see what happens. Most of us the majority was optimistic.
Really, most of the places we're traveling, it's the Israelis that we have on our team are the biggest issue.
The big story at the trip is whether there's enough interest into the public and the governments and the press. At the end of the day is, do the two Israelis get a chance to go to Libya or not? And then when I started realizing, well, what does that have to do with me? On this trip, I guess for the most part, I'm representing a side that has no voice on this trip. So I'm going to choose Iran. Living in the US, I realized that there's just so much that doesn't get mentioned in the media. There's only, so much that they show. My commitment was to show a side of my country that people haven't seen yet in America. And my larger commitment is to one day have a program that discusses international issues and brings them to the American public so they know more about what's happening in the world outside of just the general TV and the news that they see, to really get inside the lives of the people and to find out the backgrounds of who they are and their history. So for me, this was important to come in and live that life before I start to talk about it and represent my country, Iran, as well as I'm also now a citizen of US, so I represent both sides. I understand both conversations, and hopefully I'll understand a lot more after this trip. As a team, yes, it's important, but I started seeing so much activity and so much conversation about that focus, such a spotlight on, at the end of the day, if this really does get picked up as a really major triumph of a story, the triumph is that Israel gets to go to Libya. What does that have to do with me?
I don't think maybe I didn't understand the magnitude of the entry into Libya, because to me it was just like, well, we entered into Egypt, we entered into Jordan, we went to Palestine, so why should this be any different? But considering who's with us, I see now the importance of it. I didn't really, like when I first heard about it, there was not that big impact. We bring it to Israelis, so what? So bring it to Israelis, but seeing it firsthand now, the problems that the Israelis have in the rest of the Arab world, I'm seeing how it's like monumental.
It's, I guess, my responsibility mostly that you are all here. My responsibility at the moment that everything will work properly, that we'll get everybody the first place to Jordan today, and have this training camp done properly, that everybody get to know each other and get ready and prepare for the journey. so I'll try to share a little bit with you what brought me into bringing you here. The idea of breaking the ice started when 4 Israelis and 4 Palestinians decided one day to go sit on a boat and to sail all the way to Antarctica and climb a mountain.
Climbing an unnamed mountain in Antarctica.
Walk on ice, climb on a place where nobody stood before, and to give a mountain, this mountain at the end of the world, a name. And we never thought what will happen the moment after we'll get to the summit.
The statement in the first trip was very similar to that one. We keep on going in the same line to show that when it's go down to personal level, people, doesn't matter from which background they're coming from, can get along very well, and especially if the situations start to be difficult and they have to help each other. It's a great experience, and you find out that when people are under pressure, they really help each other on a human level and forget about all the political problems in the background.
You checked out mentally days ago, weeks ago.
Okay, I'm out.
Just to break down the barriers for people who, label each other as enemies, to just talk to one another or sit down around a dinner table together is in some ways the biggest step of all. The fact that they create a platform here which combines all the logistic and physical challenges with these emotional challenges is what's really unique. I mean, that's why I love this idea. From the time Hezi first mentioned it to me, and thought to myself, he'll never pull it off.
Am I doing the right thing? Maybe I'm, damaging the future of my country. I was born in Israel. We're creating a stage for other people to use that or whatever. I don't have a crystal ball to know what's really in people's mind. I was trained to hunt the bad people. And it takes a lot of conviction to get back into the path and say, so I wish you good luck, and I hope that we will enjoy this journey. And don't listen to these words, just continue to go according to what's here inside. And do you ever find the answer?
And he still has an uphill journey here before he pulls it off. But the willingness to do the simplest thing of all, to share the conversation.
If I was a singer, probably I would sing a political song, but I'm not a singer. I'm a mountain climber, and that was our political song.
And then we had another war in 1973, and I was a little child, and then another war in 1982, where I was a soldier and had to participate somehow myself. And I remember all my childhood, I always thought that, growing up in Israel, you knew that at the age of 18 you have to go to the army. But it's always something far away.
I'm always going to be far away somewhere.
Far away from what?
We've always believed that by the time, it's going to be our time to go to the army, it's going to be, we'll solve the problems, there's going to be peace, and everything's going to be all right. And it never happened.
So the approach, my mindset would be like, okay, we put out our hand, we took a step. Now, from what I'm hearing, that Gaddafi or the Libyans, they're looking to improve their image, or they want to kind of make some peace with the Western world. Here's a chance.
6 to go! 6 to go!
The diplomatic things that we have had to do up to this point and the challenges that we've had have been tremendous. If you can only imagine traveling through 5 different countries in the Middle East with the type of people that we're traveling with, some of them don't even have passports. They're refugees who have asylum and have travel documents, like Latif Yahia.
I don't count myself as European because I still stateless till now. I have, I don't know what you call it, extreme experience, especially in Iraq. I left my country since '91. I worked with Saddam Hussein.
But what is your message? What do you think should be done now?
Breaking the ass of the fucking politician, motherfuckers.
Exactly.
To get the permissions for these people to even come into these countries, and traveling over borders with big trucks. I mean, it's crazy what we're doing.
God, I hate the fucking government.
It's a very sensitive situation.
You will actually take something more likely home from a movie night than from a television night. And I rarely think that the average television consumer watches a movie.
If we achieve this, we'll make history.
Because the trip to Tripoli 3 or 4 years ago would look like an impossible trip.
And yes, we're coming in as a peace humanitarian expedition, but the political consequences of us actually being able to enter Libyan territory with 3 Israelis with us are great.
So we're gonna get into Libya? Or?
Yeah, we're getting.
You think we're gonna get in? Yeah. We're gonna get in right away, or you think it's gonna be?
Yes, but let them know we are
it's gonna be delayed a little bit.
Lunch break.
Yeah. We're not gonna get in right away.
Muammar Gaddafi right now is sitting in his office thinking, okay, if I let these guys in, the Israeli press is going to flash it all over the world that we now have diplomatic relations with Israel.
It looks very modern. I guess Tripoli probably looks very different than that. But and then I was all the time sending messages, you know, like to everybody that we are here, that we arrived. But I wasn't sure because I thought, well, maybe they'll you know, trace the messages and they realize that we are here and they were in danger, you know. But actually we are here, so I didn't get it. And suddenly we were just everybody was in the street and everybody stopped and looked like a person walked the street, and everybody just stopped because he was just passing by, and I thought, well, maybe it's Gaddafi, but he didn't look like Gaddafi. But still, it was probably a very high-rank general or something like that, and he passed the streets. And then I met him again in the toilet, brushing the teeth, and he looked so friendly, and he said, "Oh, welcome to our country," and whatever. And then the alarm rang, and we woke up.
I'm just one part of BTI. I'm part of the guy that organizes elements within the group. It's a team that does various things, and my part is to organize some of the elements within the group. So I try to find people that fit the bill for particular jobs. I try to make sure that certain departments are being created and responsibilities are shared, so that we can do what we try to do and send the message that we want to send.
So break the ice and keep the hope. Because there are some people who are trying to break the hope and keep the ice.
Without justice in this world, people will always be unhappy, and without morality to decide what the justice is all about, and what is just and what is just according to the moral code that we live by, we can't go anywhere. So morality and justice are hand in hand, and if we can do that in the world, the conflicts will go.
يعطيهم العافيه بدهم يرجعوا حشروا يعطيهم العافيه كيف ايش دخله ادخل الله معك ترجع اذا مع السرير.
It's great for the Israelis, it's great for the West, but will probably make a lot of his Arab neighbors very unhappy. It may make a lot of his own people very unhappy. It could threaten his leadership. These are all things that have to be taken into account. Even going into Egypt. You know, there's a lot of people, you have the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. They don't want ties with Israel. We're traveling through Palestine.
It's punchline, 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 after punchline. But therefore you don't understand the characters anymore, you don't understand the story anymore, you don't understand anything anymore. It's because you just go from punchline to punchline. The same way, when you watch a porn, you will not understand anything about love or sex.
I mentioned killing people with optimism.
In this situation, there is no necessity to kill him. No necessity.
It's not that I don't. Some people, yes, are cynical. I'm not sure whether this is the press themselves exactly.
It looks to me like another reality show. You're being cynical, yeah. No, I'm not. I'm being serious.
More understanding that the documentary film crew is not separate from BTI. They work underneath BTI. It is, I won't say I'll say it's a secondary thing, not to belittle it. It's a secondary thing because the number one thing is the mission itself.
Do peace, come on. I don't think so.
And then the film crew, the media, everything else is underneath that. And that's how I feel about that. I would say I still, my biggest thing in my life is to rid myself of ego.
Difficult.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Adam Rice. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Breaking the Ice, and I'll be serving as the Director of Operations for the expedition from Jerusalem to Tripoli. I also want to thank you all for coming here today, and I'm going to introduce the team to you in just a second. And my responsibility on this expedition will be basically making sure we get from point A to point B.
Plan B, Plan C, Plan D.
Security issues, anything that has to do with logistics. I was also supervised the recruitment of the team members. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce them to you. First, of course, to my left we have Mr. Shimon Peres. Honored to meet you, sir. And on behalf of Breaking the Ice, we wanted to present you with a small token of our appreciation for meeting with us.
عازل الألمانية الشرقية والغربية هذا من جدار برلين مقدم تحية من برلين.
This is our organization is based in Berlin.
Maybe a gorilla, maybe a monkey or a gorilla, because we share so much of the same genetics, and yet they don't speak and talk, so they can't get themselves into that much trouble.
Albatross, maybe. You ask what animal that? Yeah, I think albatross might be a good choice. Big freedom. Spend his time out there. But what do I know about being an albatross?
If he says yes, then we will reach Tripoli no matter what. If we have to crawl, if we have to ride bikes, if we have to, carry each other on our backs, we will make it to Tripoli.
Whether we did it on foot, on camel, we crawled, however we got there, we were going to Tripoli, and I still feel we should be going to Tripoli.
It's been a challenge, honestly, to have a husband who's the head of an organization. It puts you on a different playing field, and it's been something that has put an interesting aspect into our marriage. In general, however, we're equal in our marriage, we're equal in work. The way we got into this is, whether you may or may not know, that I met Heskel a year and a half ago missing a bus home in the middle of the night. He was standing there and offered me a ride. His Israeli friend in the car said, surely no woman would take a ride from a stranger, and I had no problem getting in the car and having them take me home. Whatever reason it was, I had a very good feeling about Heskel. When I got home that night, my husband, of course, yelled at me for taking a ride from a strange man in the night. And when I looked at Heskel's card, it didn't say anything about breaking the ice on it. I just, again, had a good feeling about him, and I went to the internet and Googled his name, and of course, Breaking the Ice in Antarctica came up.
You did it last time, it was quite dramatic, called for a lot of intention. I think many people looked upon it.
And I was very inspired by everything I read about him, and so was my husband. And we decided that it was fate that he came into our lives. And a year later, as we were asking Heskel what was going on with the 2006 journey and how was it going, it was obvious to us that he didn't have the resources to pull it off. So we donated our empty offices to Breaking the Ice and put our hearts into it back in July, and have been doing that ever since.
It's a challenge every day. I don't have an answer. every day there's a new challenge presented. It's a constant challenge. The only thing I can say, and the message that we can send, is talk. Start the dialogue. Do your best. Do not stop talking. And there were many moments within the organization where I felt like stop talking. I was done talking, where I said like, I can't talk any longer. I just want to cut it off. I'm done with it. I just want to get this out of my life, and I don't want to deal with this any longer. And I kept on talking. If that's the answer, then I don't know. But at least that's what I'm trying to do. I think you need a dialogue. That's the basis of everything. And if you stop the dialogue, then you start going down the wrong path. And it's something that is very challenging. And I don't see us as giving an answer. I don't see us, what you just said, you guys should talk and reconcile and do these things. It is basically it's a suggestion, but not a command that you got to do A, B, C. Because we as BTI, we do not offer an answer. We offer a question.
From myself, or from dying, or from coming back as an animal. I'm not sure I understand the question.
You could see the TAO was burning, you know, and it was like the city was just like, it was like a morgue, you know. It was just like, it was so quiet. I'd never seen it so quiet, you know. And I went over the bridge, and it was like empty. It was like I was like, I don't know, it was like going into battle, man. It was just like going over the bridge into the front, you know. I got to the firehouse, and I was one of the first guys to get there. And as I pulled into the firehouse, the first towel fell down. So I was able to, when I got into the firehouse, you know, we started getting ready because we knew that we were going to go down. Because my company had responded, okay?
Did you hear it, or do you know, was there any physical sign, or you just knew it on the news?
No, I heard it on the radio. I had winds on the whole time.
No,
10 winds.
Being 5 miles away, you didn't hear that?
No.
No, you couldn't hear it.
But I heard on 10 winds, it was like, oh my God, the tower just went down, you know?
We received a phone call just last night that, 24 hours before the trucks were going to take off, one of the truck's motors basically exploded. And the challenge was to try and find another engine for this thing. There are no mechanics. I mean, the list goes on the problems that we have.
There are not only problems, there are mainly solutions.
But right now, 72 hours before takeoff, we have combed the earth and somehow found somebody who happens to have an engine for this 1965 Megiris Deutz, big truck.
They saw this fire truck beside some other cars and decided this could be a very symbolic act to use this car on the trip.
This is much more than just a symbolism. You would come and argue maybe there is a drop in the ocean, but the only difference is that this is our drop. These people are taking it and putting it in the ocean.
And I'm hoping that we can be authentically beginning to share what we feel in this small setting. I feel this is a microcosm for the whole world. And I don't even think it's a drop in the ocean, the work we're doing here. I really think when we are willing to change our minds and work on it, we actually will make a huge difference.
And I would encourage you and invite you, because I heard your comments and obviously there's a lot of anger in you. I would encourage you, instead of criticizing what other people do, think for yourself on your way back home, if you could yourself take a drop and put it in the ocean.
And our wishes for peace is for all of you. God bless you and bon voyage.
Within a very precise time and moment. And that's very difficult be natural and to be in this medium and to function the way one normally functions. And it looks super easy, but to make it to look that easy, it is very difficult and hard work. When the word action comes, you've got to stop working, but it takes a lot of work to get to that point.
Fellow icebreakers, great that you called me from the Egyptian desert. You sound good, and I sense, though being tested, the team getting stronger, more aware, and bit by bit breaking out of the icy barriers of the collective egos we've been born with and passively chose to identify with, as well as breaking down the cold walls of the individual egos that imprison us. So you didn't get into Libya, but you came close and you experienced linking arms and singing together, and you inspired the police at the border. Isn't that great what you did? Remember the press conference in Amman? We did it for ourselves, even if no reporter showed up.
Серёня, да чего же ты тупой? Ты мог иметь, что никому не снилось. Зачем ты всё сломал, скажи на милость? Ой, Серёня, да чего же ты тупой? Серёня, да чего же ты тупой? Кто в первом доме стал, того и тапки. Кому ты нужен без крутого папки? А? Серёня, да чего же ты тупой? Серёня, да чего же ты тупой? Ты совершил ошибку без сомнений. Неужто думал ты, что в самом деле гений? Серёня, да чего же ты тупой?